Yo guys, what's good? Acid once again with another Exos series video. Today we're walking through all the special difficulty dungeons for the Frost element. Legendaries and rares only, so completely free to play friendly. Let's jump into it. Alright, so we will go over the different characters that I'm using, and God, I have to say I'm a little bit embarrassed. But for the Lunar trade route, I hit record at the end of the run instead of at the beginning of the run, so you won't be able to see it. It shouldn't be that big of a deal because it's very similar to the solar trade run, and you can see the end screen that I did it and which characters I used. It's the same format as the solar trade run, just with a different unit set. So yeah, let's get into the characters. I used Lepin in all of the runs because she's literally our only healer and reviver here, so we need to have her in case anything goes wrong. This is her gear, and here you can see her stats. She doesn't have anything special. As you can see, she doesn't have the Fate Core. I'm just using her skin because it looks better. But she doesn't have the Fate Core, so nothing there. We used Dagas. I know not everybody has Dagas, especially because he's such a rare unit. But if you have him, he is a good tank. He's actually not the strongest one that you could pick depending on the rest of your team. I prefer Speaker over him, but I wanted to showcase him anyway. Then we use Kirina. Oh, let me quickly show his stats. So these are his stats. We use Kirina. He has this gear and these stats. She hits incredibly hard. I'm actually pretty surprised because I haven't used her that much and I underestimated her damage. So in most areas, if you have similar stats as this, you can one-shot people like way in advance. I seriously underplayed her and could have done a lot of the runs way faster, way safer. So similar stats, you can do way better than I did. Then Speaker, he was there in the last special dungeons video I made, and I really like her. She has a solid kit, and yeah, these are her. Here's things. Just having thrust and this freeze ability on 2 mana, super good. 600% multiplier. She doesn't have too much attack, but in general, the teams that you're rocking, like Lepin is basically your strongest attacker, like besides Reed Marie maybe, but usually you switch between those 5. You could use Obelia as well. I haven't geared her up, and yeah, it's suboptimal for some areas. For other areas it might be better. She has an AoE on a 4 mana, but yeah, I prefer the other heroes that I mentioned. You could use Monica. This ability, this magic spear charge, is also pretty good. Very comparable to Reed Marie's. However, you can see this is just a 1 mana ability and thus so much stronger. If you have Reed Marie's Fate Core, then this becomes a 3 mana ability. However, the total bombardment then becomes a 1 mana ability, dealing AoE frost to everybody, which is ridiculous. You basically walk through the dungeons. Very simple. But for this video I decided to not use it. Lastly, this guy, his mana costs are too high. He has 4 mana cost here with a freeze. It can be good. He's mandatory in one of the dungeons, that's why you see him, but I wouldn't use him. He's worse than Dagas. So if you have the choice, pick Speaker, pick Dagas, pick anybody else over him. Topaki, he is one of the few rares that is actually strong. I just haven't built him up. He becomes strong because he also has trust, so get him to 5-star and he will do basically the same as Speaker. And he has the freeze on a 1 mana, which is pretty solid. Less damage though. Then you will use this guy twice. He is nothing special. Getting him a little bit more damage might be able to trigger his final hit. Same thing for this guy. So all these guys that are not special looking, that are not part of the story mode, have this as one that gives status immunity, dodge, or something else. This becomes a lot less favorable for you in general. So you want heroes that have a special ability. So this guy, reflect damage is actually pretty good, because if they hit you, they will break themselves. So that's why you see him at 55. Yeah, the rest. If you have Whaler, I haven't built him up, but this Sonic Laser is really ridiculous if you can use him. So he's one of the few rares that you might actually consider. He has also this dodge ability, but you would only use him for this, constantly spamming it. Besides Lunar and Solar Trade Route, you would always bring him. In Lunar and Solar Trade Route, you actually want to avoid a lot of AoE damage and go more for the single target. Okay, so now that we have discussed, there's no gear on those guys, in case you wonder. This guy has some gear and some stats, and I discussed, like here, 5 mana freeze. You won't often use this. He's just used in one of the dungeons. Seer, I like her because she has a burst ability, which is pretty rare, and yeah, can deal a lot of damage, and the increased attack is also pretty solid. Okay, so now we have all the units. We will continue with kind of play-by-play and analyze what I did. I didn't run any of those runs perfectly. I made a lot of mistakes, and if you plan your runs a little bit better, then you will go through them really easily. Okay, so let's go into it. We will do a kind of play-by-play. I will still speed up the runs to not take too much of your time, because this will be a very long video. Alright, let's jump into it. Okay, so now onwards to our first run. This is the Experience Sanctum, and this and the next one are pretty easy. Then the Gold Mine, Lunar and Solar Trade Route become harder, and the Blessing Dungeon is also very simple. So as you can see here, I'm trying to break and just mitigate some damage. You can see me a lot of times just hitting one person once and try to prepare them for my next rotation, and then break them in the next run. My Reed Marie, her dot damage, I almost use exclusively for any of those units that have 2 or more stones to break, in order to not worry about them at all. So here there's nothing, so I just kill a unit. And don't worry, as long as you have a healer, if a couple of your units die. It usually doesn't matter too much, because you will get the mana and Lepin will be able to pick them all up. You might have a severely bad run where you can see, oh, Lepin dies, then don't continue, just restart. It doesn't cost you any of the tickets, just a little bit of your time. It can happen, and there's unfortunately nothing you can do about that. It just like happens when the enemy ganks you up. Like there's one run where basically my whole team got decimated. Just Lepin was alive, and she was still able to pick my team up, and I was able to complete the run. Yeah, so as you can see, very solid. We get through the first wave, through the second wave, and then in the third wave, you just want to CC the side minions first, and preferably kill them first, because they just deal a lot of damage. So this is one of the runs where it's a little bit more tricky, but because I already had most of the units prepared and I know that I can kill the side minions, I go for it and try to finish the run. In probably like 4 out of 5 cases, you will have to restart the run, especially if you don't have a dot ability. So the only reason I can continue this run was because I have Read Marie. Alright, next one. So this is in the Spirit Sanctum. The Spirit Sanctum is super easy. The people just hit a little bit hard. And here in this one, instead of what did we pick in the last? Instead of Read Marie, we decided to pick Kirina. She hits so super hard, and I didn't notice this, so I could have killed one of the spirits already and move on, but I didn't know that before I actually tried it. I wanted to conserve mana a little bit and be on the safe side. And yeah, it follows a very similar tactic where I break enemies a couple of times and the rest I just hit once and either hope that they attack my speaker, who will then retaliate and I break them automatically, or I will just go into the next rotation and hit them then when the others are broken, just to spread out the damage. You'd never want to have more than 3 units hitting you at the same time. Optimally, only 1 or 2. So yeah, here exactly the same. It follows a very simple routine. And yeah, here you could see I always wait for the break until I use Kirina's things, her abilities, in order to make sure I get the kill. But she's so strong that you would be able to hit them way earlier. This dungeon is really one of the super easy ones, and we just quickly speed through this. I think I will see in the next one, because there's nothing special that happens here. Okay, I spoke too soon. There was something special, right? This was one of the runs where my Lepin died, and I think everybody besides Seer and Kirina died at the end. Yeah, so only those 2 survived. But as long as my Kirina was alive, I was able to finish this run. So I wouldn't have restarted it even if Seer also died. I would have just gone through with it and tried to just burst through it with damage. So the Ancient Gold Mines, the beginning is not that difficult. You just have to watch a little bit out for the mana. So they are hard hitting, but that's not the problem. The problem becomes when they start shocking you. So you want to check the mana of them in order to prevent any shocks. I didn't do an optimal job. Sometimes I go for the lower mana units instead of the higher mana target, although I should know better, and break them. But yeah, so for this one, it's really important that you don't let them get above 3 or 4 mana, because otherwise they will shock you, and when they shock you, you will not retaliate, you will not heal, and it can be dangerous. Same as with the other ones. Always make sure that not more than 3 of them are hitting you at the same time, and then you should be golden. So once you are through the first stage, or close towards the end, this is also more of a risky play, but you want one of the units to hit you in order to get your revive back. Since you cannot predict which hero will get hit, it is one of the more risky plays, but in this case here I went for it just to get my units revived, because I want to be able to break 2 units here, 4 stones. And once that is done, then you can simply heal your units up and you should be fine going through. You don't need all of them at full HP, you just need to have them alive so they can take a hit and break another stone. Because you never want to get a retaliation or any of the reflect damages that happen here, which makes this dungeon so hard, on your healer or on a heavy CC unit like Speaker. You want to avoid that by all means. So yeah, here the guy that I revived immediately died. With Reed Marie I already casted the ability on that guy, so he was able to be broken. I hoped that I wouldn't have to deal with the reflect, because it's really annoying, but as you can see it came up here, and now I want to drag it out as long as I can in order to get my revive back, because I need my Speaker. So here I just didn't want him to immediately cast the thing back and try to break him. I cast the Frostburn on him over and over again, so every time a turn ticks he gets broken and I can deal with it more easily. The chances that I get attacked with the right person and block are really low. So you want to basically spam through your different abilities in order to stun that unit. Here Alexei came actually in clutch because he had his freeze at the right time, but you shouldn't rely on that. Optimally, the 3 units that you want to have alive are your 3 legendary units. So this is the run we did in the solar trade route, and yeah, you can see I beat it. Here there's Topaki, Lepin, Kirina, Speaker, and Motor, like one of the rares. And you can see here, this was my team. I didn't change anything. And yeah, we beat this fairly easy. And this was when I discovered how hard Kirina can actually hit. And once I knew that, I could just nuke one of the Puglins down. They actually have pretty high defense, so you should try to get them to maybe 2/3, and then you can nuke them with the ability. Okay, so really sorry about that. Maybe in the future I will just add this as a kind of addition and link this here. So here in the Lunar trade route, it actually follows a very similar concept. You have the same units and they're dangerous. Here you can see my Reed Marie gets stunned immediately. In this case, I would have probably been better off using Speaker as a slower unit and let them take the attacks first to have Speaker trust. Maybe instead of Degas and Reed Marie, Speaker and Topaki would actually be the better units, but Degas is just a really strong unit by himself, and he can act as a secondary healer because the share health when he heals himself after he taunts, yeah, grants your other heroes also health because he gets health, which is pretty cool. So this allows you to get through some of the more heavy hitting phases. If you're not faced against a single enemy, you never want to attack a target first with your Degas or Lepin. You want to avoid them getting stunned at all costs. They are your lifeline. So you see me a lot of times, although I could break a target or could hit a target, I will not attack them with Lepin and Degas because they need to attack an already broken target or an already CC target just because I don't want to get them stunned. So even if that means that the enemy gets another turn in, or you might allow them to just progress. So let's say the enemy has 2 stones and I know Lepin can be attack and another enemy. I will not attack with Lepin first. I will skip the turn with Lepin, hit somebody that is already broken, and then I will take the damage. I will risk it because it's so important to have them here. Here you definitely want to go for the side minions. They are fairly tanky. They actually have more defense than the main target. The main target just hits really hard. But yeah, you want to get them out of the way because they basically prevent you from doing a lot of your damage because of the constant onslaught that they bring. So once I get them out of the way, I can also deal much easier with the middle guy. You see the middle guy currently has status immunity, so I can't freeze him. I can put Reed Marie's Frostbite on him, but freezes don't work, so I needed to wait that out, and unfortunately he cast it again, but I'm able to break it, and now you will see me just working through the rotation, and the next time my Degas is there, I will freeze him. That's why you didn't see me use his share health or something. Oh, I didn't actually freeze him because of the break. I will do that the next turn, I believe. Yes, here I freeze him so I don't get another counter. And it takes a little while just because Frost has the problem, especially with support and tank units, that they will not gain mana when they attack, only when they get attacked. Yeah, here that was an unavoidable scenario where I had to attack with Degas just because he was the only one there. But afterwards, Lepin was able to take some of the blocks and we go through with this. So very similarly, we went through the other area as well. And now towards the Blessing Dungeon, I think here I picked Kirina as well, yes. So I wanted to showcase her off again, and this is one of the runs where you're like, should I just restart it? Because I think almost everybody got nuked into Nirvana. Because I did 2 or 3 mistakes in not attacking the right unit. I didn't watch which unit attacks at a certain moment. But because I was fairly confident that my Kirina can kill most of them, I wanted to do it anyway and just try it. So if I would have restarted this run, it would have been the same. Like I would have just dealt with it a little bit smarter and gotten through the first wave. But as you can see, I now concentrate a little bit more, play better, and use my Kirina's abilities super frequently, where it's constantly I use Karina to hit everything as much as I can, and then here I did another mistake, because usually I don't have two fast units here, just one, so I always attack the right guy, but in this case attacking the bow guy would have been the better choice because you would have avoided damage immediately, which was stupid of me, but now you know. Always the archer guy first if you have two units before him. If you don't, then the right target is the better choice. So I don't think that Blessing Dungeon will be a difficulty for a lot of people, simply because it's one of the easier. Lunar and Solar trade routes are probably the most dangerous ones. So here, this was a super risky play where I was just like, okay, let's go and hope for the block. Most of the support units in the Frost have pretty high blocks, so it wasn't super like risky, but it's still chance based. I still went for it. I had the revive going on, and then yeah, just continue nuking him down. I don't think I get another heal, but the damage that I can produce is super high. Even if one of the units got killed right now, it wouldn't have mattered because I was already through it like 2/3. And yeah, so there we go. This was all the special difficulty dungeons. In case you're wondering, Shelter of Avarice is not something that we can easily cover here. It's super specific. I can barely do it, and I have to use my Fadeds. I cannot do it with my rares alone. Like, the gear ceiling seems to be so freaking high. So yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate. With all that said, I really hope you enjoyed it. It was a long video, kind of a play-by-play guide. I tried to cover everything as good as I can. If you have any questions, let me know. And as always, it was a pleasure to have you here. If you enjoyed it, consider subscribing to the channel. Leave a like, leave a comment, all the good stuff. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Until then, enjoy the grind.